welcome to Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats. Not as good as FDR's, but hey, it's something. Now, before we get into the main topic or the news or blah blah blah, here's a little bit of housekeeping just so any of you watching get the gist. If you're wondering why I haven't made a video on Pride Month yet, it's because, again, I didn't know it was Pride Month until, the 1st of June. There will be a Pride Month video scheduled for the end of the month. Not the end of the month, but, in the last week of the month, June 27th, I believe, not 27th, the 20th or the 27th. Somewhere along those lines. One of those two dates. And, of course, another thing is I will be doing my first debate thingy. I won't be debating anybody, but, the first 2020 presidential debates will come out, and that will lead to me covering it on a Fireside Chat, and, of course, after that, I think I'll be able to officially actually make a more comprehensive list ranking the 2020 Democrats on their likelihood of getting into the likelihood of them winning the Democratic nomination or beating Trump and da-da-da-da. And I'm also writing a video that is a top 10 list, but not one of those actual top 10 lists that have political topics, but a top 10 list similar to my top 10 screw-ups list. It's not the screw-ups list, it's something else. That will be released, I think, after my Pride Month video. The 2 weeks after my Pride Month video. So, yeah. With all that out of the way, let's get right into the news. First of all, news from someone who didn't get any news when he was relevant. Make that 4 political parties for Lincoln Chafee. Lincoln D. Chafee, the Republican turned independent turned Democrat who served as Rhode Island's governor as a U.S. Senator, is now a member of the... Wait. I'll allow you to guess which political party he is now in. Is he A, a member of the Green Party, B, Constitution Party, or C, Libertarian Party? Well, here's the quote that tells you. I bought property in Wyoming and registered to vote out there in my 4th party. I'm a libertarian, Chafee said Tuesday while in the Providence. It's what I've always been, fiscally conservative and socially liberal. The county's clerk office in Tenton County, Wyoming, confirmed that Chafee, who lives in Tenton Village, near Jackson, registered as a member of the Libertarian Party on March 11th of this year. Chafee said that he still owns property in Exeter and Warwick, Rhode Island, where he served as mayor from 1993 to 1999. A Globe reporter ran into Chafee on Tuesday as he was having lunch at the Wayland Square Diner with his brother, Assistant U.S. Attorney Zechariah Chafee, and he said he was back in Rhode Island for his niece's wedding. So, yeah, Chafee's a libertarian now. That has led to a lot of speculation on Chafee's intentions, because here's the thing. We all know that when a Republican or a Democrat shifts their party affiliation to a third party, it can only mean one thing, and one thing only. That he could potentially run as a libertarian in 2020. Do I think that's the case? Probably not. But if Chafee is running as a libertarian in 2020, well, we'll see how well that goes. Because here's the thing, he's kind of like a Bill Weld type figure. They have a lot of problems with some of Chafee's issues. It's similar to Mike Gravel. They liked Mike Gravel and his anti-war policies when he ran for the Libertarian nomination in 2008, after he failed as a Democrat. But they were like, Gravel, you also want Medicare for all. No, that's not a libertarian philosophy. And Mike Gravel was the only guy running in the Libertarian nomination that was actually when they said, who's your favorite philosopher? He didn't say, my favorite philosopher is Ayn Rand. But anyways, they have this tendency of just, libertarians especially, they have a tendency to just say, hey, are you a retread? yes, let us have you as our candidate. Gary Johnson, Mike Gravel, Bob Barr, even though Mike Gravel didn't win, William Weld, who ran for the vice presidential nomination, one of the Koch bros, I forget which one, David Koch, I believe, was the one who ran as the Libertarian vice presidential candidate. But anyways, not saying that it's not necessarily bad. I mean, Adam Kokesh, who is like the kind of the Daryl Perry-esque figure of the party, who's like, oh wait, yeah, of course the big one, Ron Paul, but like Adam Kokesh, who's like, hey, hold on, we need to be ideologically consistent. He's kind of mellowed out, I guess. Like Daryl Perry, he was like, nope, if Weld runs for the Libertarian nomination, I will never support that man. He is not a real libertarian. Kokesh is like, guys, I think we could be a little more lenient. Even though Kokesh is an ANCAP, well, voluntarist, or whatever that is. But, I mean, I guess he's mellowed out in recent years, because, I mean, he needs libertarians to win something. So, yeah. Let's see how that goes. Maybe Chafee will run. Maybe he won't. I mean, out of Chafee's 10 points for prosperity, libertarians will agree with like 5 of them, or like 6. So I think Chafee might have a good shot if he runs. Probably. But anyways, next story. Barbs start to fly ahead of first Democratic debate. Democratic candidates for president are increasingly throwing barbs and exchanges swipes at each other ahead of their first debate in just 3 weeks. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand and South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg took aim at one of the former Senator Al Franken's resignation, which Buttigieg explicitly criticizing Gillibrand for saying that he wouldn't have pressured Franken to resign over sexual misconduct allegations based on what was known about the time. Gillibrand was the first senator to call for Franken's resignation last year, and she's been criticized by some Democrats for doing so. For my part, I choose to stand by 8 women, Gillibrand told Sirius XM host Zerlina Maxwell on Signal Boost Tuesday, a day after Buttigieg's initial comments at the MSNBC town hall. I would stand behind those women again. I value women, so my position is really clear. Senators Bernard Sanders and Elizabeth Warren have taken swipes at former Vice President Joe Biden over his willingness to attend high-dollar fundraisers with Wall Street supporters. Warren has also taken a shot at Biden over his willingness to work with Republicans. Blah, blah. But anyways, and there's also like this whole thing where John Hickenlooper and John Delaney were like, we cannot be socialist. Socialism is for dorks. And then they got booed off the stage at the California Democratic National Convention. Not Democratic National Convention, but like the state convention that they had. Also, if you want more lighthearted news, Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie Sanders, they met each other at the convention, and they hugged each other. Like, hey, how's it going? And he hugged her. And it was like, oh, that's sweet. So yeah, the debates, it looks like these guys are like, oh wait, we actually have to fight each other? So they're starting to throw all their attacks at once. And I mean, even so far, like Biden, I mean, this isn't a story that I actually attached to this, but this is something I guess worth bringing up. Like Biden's whole Hyde Amendment thing, where he was like, I am for the Hyde Amendment. And they're like, wait, what? And he's like, never mind. And then people are trying to be stupid and like, Bernie was for the Hyde Amendment, but now he's not. No, he voted against the Hyde Amendment. Stupid. But I mean, everybody's starting to throw their attacks at once because of the debates coming up. And they want to throw every other candidate under the bus before the first debate so that they can just, throw everyone under the bus before the first debate. Because think about it, like, imagine, like, they want a Dean Scream moment. All of the candidates are hoping that someone, like, one of the people that's going to be at the debate stage is going to have a Dean Scream moment, and their chances are just going to be thrown in the trash. Well, I mean, the only people that people are, like, expecting to not do that are, like, the front runners. Biden, Bernie, Warren, Beto, Buttigieg. Those are, like, the 5. I mean, technically there's, like, a bit of a divide on who's who counts as a front runner. Some people put Kamala on the list. Some people say that she's like, because like the polls shift very frequently. All I know that's really consistent is that Bernie or Biden are like usually like close to each other, like neck and neck. And if not, Bernie's like second, mostly second, and Biden's like first, because, you know, a lot of the polls that have Bernie and Biden are like they're skewed in any of their. There's never seems to be a poll that actually uses both. Like, polls that show Bernie in the lead have, you know, a tendency to focus on younger voters. Polls that have Biden in the lead always focus on older voters. There never seems to be a poll that has both voters. Like, why not actually have the older voters and the younger voters come together so that they can all have their voices heard? Oh yeah, and then there's also this stupid thing that happened where Eric Swalwell, like, changed his baby's diaper and made that a campaign ad on Instagram where it's like, if he could change the shit in his daughter's diaper, that he could change the shit in Washington. This is real. This is real. This is real. Swalwell, you're trying too hard to stay relevant. Swalwell, you're... Okay, so... I'm gonna make some general predictions before the debate at one point. I don't know. When are the debates again? I forgot. I keep forgetting where the debate is. I need to, like, put it on a calendar or something. And I'm gonna, like, do both, because I think that both of them are gonna be held before I do one fireside chat, so it's gonna be, like, notes on both. You know, like, whatever. But anyway, speaking of the debates, DNC tells Inslee it won't host climate debate. Democratic presidential hopeful and Washington Governor Jay Inslee announced Wednesday that the Democratic National Committee is rebuffing his repeated entreaties for a primary focused debate on climate change. Today, my team received a call from the Democratic National Committee letting us know that they will not host a debate. They will not host a climate debate. Further, they explained that if we participate in anyone else's climate debate, we will not be invited to future debates, Inslee said in a statement. This is deeply disappointed. The DNC is silencing the voices of Democratic activists, many of our progressive partner organizations, and nearly half of the presidential field who wants to debate on the existential crisis of our times. Democratic voters say that climate change is their top issue. The Democratic National Committee must listen to the grassroots of the party, Inslee added. Okay, first of all, second issue, I think climate change mostly ranks as second issue. You know, healthcare is usually ranked higher than that. Then, like, after that, it's like foreign policy. But, you know, I mean, I get what you're saying, Inslee. Climate change is real. It's gonna happen. There's a news story that showed, like, 2050. I mean, not 2050. Like, 50 years is all we have. No, I think it said 2050. Either 2050 or 50 years. Either one of those. That's all we have left before we die. And the DNC's like, nope. Nope. I'm not. You think we're going to debate this topic? That's silly talk. I mean, it's not like we're in the hands of fossil fuel industries. Oh boy, it's the Democratic Party. It's like the damn Daniel meme. Damn, DNC, back at it again with your Wall Street donors. They're always doing whatever the establishment wants, they get. I mean, there's not going to be I think it was a similar case with the Black Lives Matter. They wanted to hold their own debate last time around, but like the Democratic Party shot them down. And then Martin O'Malley said all lives matter, and everyone was like, whoops, that's no. But why not? Like, I mean, Kyle Kalinske pointed out in a video that he did where he was like, well, I mean, then you'd get into the semantics. Like, why isn't there one debate held on Medicare for all? Why isn't there one debate held on certain issues? Why isn't this? Why isn't this? Why isn't this? But, I mean, again, you could say, why not just schedule more debates? I'd be fine with like 1 million debates. Like, I don't get why people are like, oh, I think the DNC has enough debates. Well, I mean, yeah, but inevitably there's going to be some issues that are swept under the rug. you have like how many debates does the Democratic Party have scheduled for 2020? Hold on. Let me look this up. Okay, I just looked this up. They have technically 15 scheduled debates. Here's how it goes. 1A and 1B, that's the ones that are going to be held on June 26th and 27th. Then 2 debates in July, held one after another. 2A and 2B. 3A and 3B, which is held in September. Then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you can't have at least one of them held on the thing that is going to kill us? I mean, why not? This is, again, this is kind of like strange. And technically Jay Inslee could have a climate change forum where the candidates because here's the thing, they've held forums on democracy reform, issues affecting women of color, immigration reform, and, Jewish American issues, Black American issues, Pacific American issues, LGBTQ rights is going to be held soon. And so is the Asian American and Black Americans issues to forums. But here's the thing, forums are just going to be the candidate walking on the stage and be like, I am for this, and then get off the stage. Inslee wants to put all the candidates on blast in regards to their climate policies. Because here's the thing, Inslee technically, I think on climate change, he can pull really well with progressives. On climate change, that's an issue that I think he really does well with progressives, and progressives are like, yep, let's go with this guy. If climate change was literally the only issue, imagine this, a world where we have Medicare for all, weed is legal, we don't have interventionist regime change wars, money's out of politics. The only candidate that really, Inslee could stand out easily. He would be a front runner because Biden would just fade away in that kind of world, but, he's, Inslee wants to have all the candidates on fire and on blast, especially the ones who don't agree on the Green New Deal, or the ones who don't believe climate change is real. In the hypothetical scenario that they don't believe that is the case. But, the DNC, they inevitably make the rules, so, who's gonna stop them? Anyways, next story. North Carolina legislator fails to overturn governor's veto of anti-abortion bill. In a rare defeat for anti-abortion activists in the South, North Carolina Republicans failed on Wednesday to overturn a veto on a bill that would have made it a crime to not treat any infant child born after an abortion. Governor Roy Cooper, a Democrat, rejected the Senate bill days after it passed both Republican-held chambers in April, noting that its measure was the unnecessary interference between doctors and their patients and would have criminalized a practice that simply does not exist. Doctors are already held for a 2002 federal law that protects fetuses that survive abortions. In a statement on Wednesday, Mr. Cooper reiterated his position on the bill. The so-called Born Alive Survivors Protection Act was redundant. It's important to protect the lives of all children, and laws already exist to protect newborn babies, Mr. Cooper said. Instead of passing unnecessary legislation for political purposes, we need to move on form of divisive social issues and focus on the needs of North Carolina families, education, healthcare, and good-paying jobs. So basically, this was another one of those abortion laws that that everybody's trying to get passed all across the South. Not so that there's any actual laws to be set in place. All they really want is someone to be like, hey, this law is unconstitutional. So they can be like, oh, Brett Kavanaugh. That's all they want. They want someone to say, this is unconstitutional. I'm pretty sure that there's a woman who is anti-abortion that's getting her teen daughter pregnant right now so that she can take the case to the Supreme Court and be like, abortion should be illegal. Whatever, but Roy Cooper's trying to show, especially because Roy Cooper's up for re-election, and, Roy Cooper, he's not necessarily the progressive of progressives. He's a liberal. He's forward. I guess the best way to say it is Bernie Sanders is a progressive, but your average, Roy Cooper is just he's not that outspoken progressive, expand Medicaid instead of Medicare for all. He really only ran on the one issue of we need to end Hate Bill 2, as he called it. But it was a good thing to run on, at least for North Carolina. But it's just a gray area for Roy Cooper. Especially considering there's not going to be a progressive challenger for him. It doesn't appear to be the case. It's not. So I'll probably end up voting for him in 2020. Unless the Green Party gives me a viable alternative. Anyways, next story. This one is coming from across the pond. Change UK splits as 6 of its 11 MPs become independents. Change UK has lost 6 of its 11 MPs following a disappointing performance in last month's EU elections when it failed to get a single MEP elected. The party announced that new leader, Anna Soberry, has been elected. She said she was deeply disappointed that Heidi Allen, Chuka Umuna, Sarah Wollaston, Angela Smith, Lucina Berger, and Gavin Schuker have left. The departing MP said that they would be returning to supporting each other as independent group of MPs. Change UK, formerly known as the Independent Group, well, technically it's still called the Independent Group. It's called Change UK / the Independent Group, whatever. It was formed earlier this year by MEPs who quit Labour and the Conservatives. It pledged to push for any Brexit deal negotiated by the government to be voted on a referendum or people's vote, in which it would campaign for the UK to remain in the EU. But in last month's European elections, it gained 3.4% of the vote. And, basically, Change UK is imploding. Change UK, their whole thing was the Tories are too far to the right, and Labour is full of anti-Semites and is too far to the left. So we need to get two people we need to be in the centre to campaign for the real people's plan to remain in the European Union. It's their whole plan was just literally based on kind of lies. So, oh yeah, Labour's full of anti-Semites. It's just a known fact, right? No, it's not. Yes, it is. Jeremy Corbyn's an anti-Semite. What's your proof? That wasn't an answer, but I guess that gives me your answer. There was one of the Change UK members, and I think it was one of them, that made a petition on change.org that literally said, Jeremy Corbyn's an anti-Semite, we must have him resign right now. And then immediately when I went to go see how that page was, change.org literally said, we have just found out that this petition is based on conjecture, so we'd highly suggest you read more on the information provided before you actually consider signing it. So that's the thing. Change UK, it's a weird thing about these centrist movements. They're always people will line with us and join us to combat the evil. But when your only platform is, these guys are too far to the left, these guys are too far to the right, we need to reach a middle ground, you're gonna get nowhere. You're literally gonna go nowhere. It was something that I was planning on bringing up in the Hill of Roses video that was lost to history, but I didn't get a chance to. But these centrist movements, they go nowhere. I think I did mention it somewhat. These centrist movements, there's no momentum. Like the Brexit Party, it had momentum. It ran on a populist platform. It had momentum. That's why it won more seats than the expected winner. Labour was expected to win, not the Brexit Party. When they were formed, they were expected to win, but Labour was at least expected to get second place, but they didn't. Labour got third in the MEP elections. So, when you go with populist left, you have momentum. Populist right, you have momentum. Populist nonpartisanship, you have momentum. If you're a nonpartisan populist, it's better than just not being if you're a populist, you will get anywhere. Right-wing populists with the libertarian conservatives, you have momentum. Far-right populists, with the Sieg Heils and stuff, you have momentum. The left-wing populists with Bernie Sanders, AOC, and Social Democrats / Democratic Socialists, they have momentum. But if you're even if you actually run as a centrist populist, you'll have momentum. But if you're running as a centrist alone, no populism attached, but claiming you're a populist, because that's the thing. They always centrists love saying this. Even centrists in third party groups, they never really run with populism. They run just as centrists. If you actually take a look at the American people, a good majority of them are centrists because they are registered independents, meaning that they do not agree with that is not what independent means. I'm an independent. I'm a registered independent. I'm not doing that because I think the Democrats are too far left. I think they're not left enough. I don't think the Republicans are left enough. And, they're supposed to be. They're the right-wing party. But there is no, again, these centrist movements, they don't have momentum. And Change UK is just going to flop down and die. If they wanted to do anything, they should have left for the Liberal Democrats. That's how they should have made their move. They should have gotten the Liberal Democrats to be at a higher platform than they are. Because that's the thing. If they went with the Liberal Democrats, they would have at least actually had a leg to stand on because, third party of the UK. So anyways, I originally had another story lined up, but it's old. It's technically old. I'll bring it up in a different point in time. If I ever want to use it for a political topic, or not topic, but if I actually put it in, I probably would have gotten demonetized if I actually demonetized my videos, because it mentions very risque stuff. But it's not important because it doesn't really have any relevance because it's technically old. It's an old story, but I'll bring it up at one point. Maybe if the Hill of Roses does a topic thing and I want to bring up how bad Hillary supporters are. But anyways, now let's move on to the presidential candidate of the day, Larissa Edwards, Peacemaker for President. Her website is Peacemaker for Prez. What to expect from God's Peacemaker Party. That's her party, I guess. A peacemaker is a public servant sworn to God, time and forward mostly to 90% of their precious time. The peacemaker commitment is unchanging for and is the only way forward. Unfortunately, Larissa is the only person in yesterday's world capable of speaking with God 24/7. Therefore, she's the only one who knows exactly how to turn America's backwards or mostly negative socioeconomic infrastructure forwards. As humanity's only sworn peacemaker leader, she's promised that a mostly productive socioeconomic infrastructure is and will remain heaven forever. In case you're wondering, Larissa is Messiah, and she has come with an eternal challenge for anyone who dares believe otherwise, because yesterday's America always has and always will be driven by the mind and spirit disease sufferers, and will always be backward. And according to God, backwardness has plagued humanity for over 1 million Earth years. So expect Larissa to cure humanity of mind and spirit disease, mental retardation, and God disconnection. Okay, here's her agenda. Here's her platform. I only brought her up so we can laugh at her. Agenda. God's agenda is simple. Cure mental retardation and God disconnection. Close all nuclear plants. Okay, that's fair. Remove significant amount of concrete and toxicity. Natural resource preservation. Okay, that's fair. Plant billions of trees and other forms of natural plant life. Okay, that's fair. Rid tomorrow of all limited value, including cash, credit, interest, finance, charge, and digital currency. Increase professional minimum wage to $60,000 per year in real revenue, gold, land, house, travel, accommodation, high-quality food, personal services, etc. Oh, wait, so I guess technically she means, You get gold, you get your land, you get a house, you get travel accommodation, high quality food and personal services, decrease mostly negative circumstances in less than 4% reality, implement God's divine order metaphysical healthcare, which should be administered to African Americans first, legalize all drugs, including marijuana. Okay, that's fair. Provide free physical healthcare. Okay, that's fair. Overhaul education, legal, and justice systems. All right. Remove the U.S. Constitution and government. I think Kokesh would agree with that. Time, place, God, time forward as our Pledge of Allegiance. Replace yesterday's low-quality public school food and high-quality gourmet food. End war forever. Decrease STD transfer, including HIV. I don't know how you'd really fix that. And much, much more, but more specifically, cure mental retardation. There's not much I could say to that. That's literally, go to her website. That's like number 1 on her agenda. Cure mental retardation. So anyways, I guess speaking of that, we'll move on to the topic of this video. Okay, that's a bad transition, but it means a transition nonetheless. We are going to be talking about Stephen Blake Crowder. Stephen Blake Crowder is a conservative Canadian-American commentator, actor, and comedian. He is the host of Louder with Crowder, a late-night style comedic television show. Is it really television? Okay, but covering news, pop culture, and politics on its own site. He is also a former contributor on Fox News and a former voice actor on the PBS children's show Arthur, and is frequently featured on the Glenn Beck program and the Dana Show, a 1-hour show, a 1-hour podcast, also titled Louder with Crowder, is uploaded to iTunes and SoundCloud 1 week and is broadcasted live on YouTube. So, Stephen Crowder is a well-known political commentator because, he's had a long history on YouTube. He's done his, political commentator show for a while now. You know how, Amazing Atheist has been around for a while? Well, Stephen Crowder's kind of been that way as well. He's been around for quite a long time, garnering a lot of reputations. Like, for example, the fact that he played Brain on Arthur. I'm not kidding. He played Brain on Arthur for a while. He played him for a while. How long has he played Arthur? Okay, it's only been for 1 year that he was on Arthur, but, it's still something. So anyways, he's also been known for the change my mind myth. Change my mind, not change my mind myth, but blank is a myth, change my mind. And he's also known for, hating on the Young Turks. He's pretty much known for, being an anti-PC, anti-union, type guy. The biggest thing that I actually knew him for before really this whole controversy was, first of all, his interesting altercation with, quote, union thugs. So pretty much here's what happened. In a December 2016 union protest, there was a group of union workers and a group of anti-union guys who were, going at it at protest time because Michigan recently passed some right-to-work laws, which greatly hurt unions. So union workers were protesting, and Stephen Crowder was like, "Unions stink!" And then at one point, he posted a video of YouTube of this altercation, and one of the points in the altercation involved a union worker getting up from the ground and then punching Stephen Crowder in the face. But here's the thing. Now, feel free to look up this video for yourself, but here's what happens. We see him get up from the ground, and then Stephen Crowder walking from behind the union worker to in front of him. So, and as TJ Kirk points out in his video where he shows this video, it looks like Stephen Crowder pushed him over. and then caused him to punch him. Whereas the video that was posted on Crowder's channel implicated that the Union guy started the fist fight first. That even caused him to get... That even caused, like, Steven Crowder to, like, try to sue TJ Kirk, but, you know, it didn't really pan out that well. Because the judge actually was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you pushed him. This video shows that you pretty much pushed him, except for, you know, it didn't show the part where you actually pushed him, but it strongly implies you did. It's not happening the way you did, so you're wrong. So, another thing that I know him for is for being really homophobic. And it has nothing to do with this topic at hand. No. It has to do with a different video he made. A video where he claimed that the AIDS epidemic never happened. Yeah, the thing that killed over 700,000 people and infects more than 1.1 million people currently. Yeah, it just never happened. Just, nope, not at all. Just did not happen at all. It was completely false, made up, untrue, inaccurate. Now, Steven Crowder, he's considered like a big, like, conservative guy, and, you know, well known amongst the conservative community. Like, oh yeah, I watch Steven Crowder. But that view literally replaced AIDS epidemic with Holocaust. And Crowder's just immediately like, oh no, he's just crazy conspiracy theorist. Yeah, they're perfectly fine with him like, oh no, all these people who died of AIDS, it didn't happen. No. He even goes on to explain in his video, it's like because, like, realistically, only this many people could have sex at a time, and blah blah blah. It's like, I mean, yeah, but Steven, you played a smart character on a TV show. You should know better than this. Brain reads books. Did you forget to read? Do you not know how to pick up a book and read and get statistics and all that stuff? I guess not. I mean, Ronald Reagan ignored the AIDS epidemic, so I guess it's natural for a conservative to ignore AIDS. It's just a natural thing. Conservatives ignore AIDS. Do what Daddy Ron Reagan says. I mean, many people criticize Steven Crowder's, like, outspoken, like, in-your-face kind of personality. Like, again, he dresses up as, like, he dresses up as women a lot and always tries to make fun of trans people. He's also known for, like, infiltrating Antifa. Ooh. Like, he's known for all this kind of stuff. But again, like, none of that AIDS epidemic stuff or the Union bad stuff, or him and Joe Rogan getting into an argument about weed and him being like, oh, weed is bad, and Joe Rogan's like, actually, no, it's not, because blah, 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 blah. And he's like, nope, weed's still bad. But that's not the controversy. The controversy is more recent in regards to, you know, the news and stuff. Basically, here's the breakdown. One day, like, not that long ago, a Vox reporter by the name of Carlos Maza took to Twitter to express disagreement with some of Steven Crowder's statements, saying that Crowder was pretty much outright harassing him. Because Steven Crowder, he always likes to make, you know, these videos on, like, debunking leftists and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, Carlos Maza was saying, like, okay, I'm normally, like, really thick-skinned in regards to this, but, you know, he's really not getting anywhere close to actual confronting my ideology. This isn't just him, like, debunking my leftist ideology or anything else in that regard, because that would be fine. Steven Crowder is pretty much outright harassing me for my sexuality. So here's pretty much here's a sample of some of the Carlos Maza video where he goes into detail about the stuff that, Steven said.
Before we get to the video, with our favorite lispy sprite from Vox. It's ridiculous. It's bonkers. You're being given a free pass as a crappy writer because you're gay.
That center line on his little queer graph there. What is
Well,
that
now
line?
the graph is queer?
This violence, filth.
Okay, so the little queer can eat his chips all nonchalantly. It's code for rape, Mr. Queer eating chips on the Vox channel. Chip, 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 but you can eat just one. Like dicks. This is what Mr. Gay Vox wants to do. Mr. Lispy Queer from Vox. What were you holding, Gay Latino from Vox? Even his hand movement in fast motion is gay. Now we're here with the short-haired angry lesbian on Skype. Cable news bitching. Two gay guys sitting there eating a banana. We get the symbolism there. The truth is hiding in a closet 2 weeks later, probably along to his next Pride Parade outfit. This guy on the gay semi-Latino Vox. Oh, okay, so you really are just an angry little queer. All right, I can't deal with this Sprite anymore. Okay, he just sachets across without, the gay Vox Sprite is wrong. Now he could be a tranny, Your Honor. But how many lispy, angry Sprites and Vox sachet across your screen and try and tell you otherwise? Or you, by the way, the gay Mexican guy, the gay Latino V-neck. Gay Mexican. Mexican gay guy used to work. Mexican gay Latino there at Vox. Oh, gay Latino from Vox. The token Vox gay atheist Sprite with surprisingly flaccid chest, considering how thin he is. This is very bizarre to me. Ad hominem, yes, but it was an addendum to fat.
Okay, so that was pretty much all of the video that he was saying. Like, these are some of the biggest examples of me getting harassed by Steven Crowder. Now, first of all, to an extent, I understand where he's coming from. It seems he's focusing too much on the fact that he is gay and Mexican than actually debunking his videos. I haven't seen all of the whole videos because, I assume it's mostly just, conservative stuff like, if climate change is real, why is there snow? Hello? But anyways, some of those I guess you could say, are kind of yeah, it makes sense. Those would probably be considered harassment, but again, for the most part is I wouldn't be bothered by it because they're shitty jokes. It's like the Nicole Arbor video about do any of you remember Nicole Arbor? She was she got in this whole controversy because she made a Dear Fat People video where she made pretty much second grade fat jokes. Here's her whole video: fat people, you can't walk 'cause you're fat. And that's pretty much Steven Crowder's video. Gay. Dude, I bet you're so gay, you like kissing men.
Got him.
It also brings up irony on, conservative side, because you always hear this, conservatives are stop bringing up identity politics. Stop bringing up identity politics. Stop mentioning the fact that you're gay and expecting that to win the argument. Steven, that's what you're saying. That's what you're doing. The only thing you see about Carlos Maza is the fact that he is a gay Mexican. That's all you see. And then you go on to be like, I am the guy who's leading the charge on the fighting for the battlefield of ideas. Yet your only argument is gay. He is gay. You are gay. Gay, gay, gay. And then, of course, there's this whole controversy about Steven Crowder's shirt. For those of you who don't know how the Steven Crowder shirt, it's his most famous shirt. It's a picture of Che Guevara, who's holding his hand up like the, hey girl, like that. He's holding his hand like that. And then it says, socialism is for, and then the final three letters are F, and then G, but in the middle of that, there's, the middle letter is blocked by a fig, which is supposed to be a reference to the fact about Che Guevara and figs. But the whole idea is, since the middle letter is censored, you could read it as socialism is for fags. That's the whole point of the shirt. That's the joke. The joke is supposed to be that it says socialism is for figs, but when you read it, at first glance, it says socialism is for fags. That's the whole point of the joke. And some people are saying, like, that's the reason why, you know, certain things should happen to Steven Crowder, but some other people are saying, no, it's a defense. It's like, some people are, like, they're getting on both sides of the aisle, like, they're saying that socialism is for figs. That proves that it is not a bad shirt. And then there are other people saying, it obviously says socialism is for fags, you dummy. When I'm like, guys, it's supposed to be both. That's the joke. That's the whole joke of Steven Crowder's shirt. I mean, it's not even really a joke, but that's the whole quote-unquote joke. That's supposed to be the joke, that you're supposed to be like, I get it, because socialism never works. And Che Guevara is a bad man. That's supposed to be the joke. Che is gay, as the young kids in Ben Shapiro once said. But, you know, there's also a lot of other things that involved the Mazza controversy, because Mazza showed that he also got doxxed by a Steven Crowder fan, possibly. Technically the doxing could have been someone else, but all the messages that he got after that were like, debate Steven Crowder, debate Steven Crowder, debate Steven Crowder, debate Steven Crowder. That was pretty much like he got doxxed by a Steven Crowder fan, I would assume. Crowder, of course, kept saying, no, it's playful ribbing, it's playful ribbing. First of all, you don't have any leftist friends. Why would it be playful ribbing? You don't like him. Just admit it. Who cares? You could say freedom of speech and say, well, I mean, it's my freedom of speech to say, let's be queer. Oh, and that's another thing. People have been saying, like, hello, queer isn't a bad word because LGBTQ? What does the Q stand for? I rest my case. It stands for questioning. Oh, well, technically it also stands for queer, because queer is also just kind of a synonymous thing for the entire LGBTQ community. You know, because, you know, the whole slogan, like, we're here, we're queer, and we're not going away. Or I think a more funny version is like, we're here, we're queer, and we're fabulous. But anyways, that's, like, I mean, again, it's like context is important. So, now, of course, I'm not censoring any of these, because technically I can say them. You don't know why, but you'll find out soon. No, you won't. But anyways, you know, Mazza was saying how, like, it's dehumanizing, and the biggest thing that he brought up was that it's Pride Month, and YouTube is not doing anything about it. He's a prominent gay creator, so YouTube can't just be like, we like the gay people, and then on the other end just let this full-on cyberbullying take place. So, inevitably, there was a whole investigation that YouTube decided to look into, and they ultimately decided that they would not do anything. Which some people were either saying hooray or boo to. Humanist Report has been the biggest person who's booed on this. So, this is inevitably a big issue. Then, after the backlash, YouTube decided they were going to do something about it, and decided to demonetize Steven Crowder's entire YouTube channel, and then, to even take a step further, they would demonetize every YouTube video that was deemed hateful content. And at first people were like, this is a great idea. But many people actually saw through YouTube's BS right away, because immediately afterwards, Ford Fisher, a prominent person who covered the Venezuelan embassy in DC, had a lot of his videos demonetized because he covered white supremacist rallies, because he's a freaking journalist. Deep Fat Fried, a podcast run by The Amazing Atheist, had also its entire channel demonetized. And a lot of other prominent channels, either right-wing or other kind of stuff, found out that their channels had been completely demonetized. And that's where things got a little bit rocky. Because now, some people they haven't really let up in any of this. Mike Fiorino of the Humanist Report has stayed fully intent on explaining how Crowder is a bad person and this is kind of okay. But there's also, like, Boogie2998 stepped in explaining how Vox is doing this. This is a bad thing, and that this shouldn't have been dealt with the way it should have been. And Anthony Fantano and the Humanist Report kind of stepped in, saying, like, Boogie, fuck you, bro. Stop with this enlightened centrism crap. And I'm like, Mike, you're kind of making leftists look bad because I'm actually in full agreement with Boogie. This is not that good. And then Anthony Fantano went so far as to say, like, these other channels being affected don't exist. It's like, this is affecting a lot of people. That's the problem. It's not even really Carlos Maza's fault. I felt that Carlos Maza should have brought up these things. These are things that should have been brought up and should have been dealt with in a different manner. The problem with YouTube is they do not know how to handle this situation. All of their stuff is done via, all their stuff is done automatically. So they just, like, if you make a political video and then all of a sudden you make a video, like any video that's just like Mr. Beat. I'm pretty sure the Jewish video got demonetized because, if you put Jews in the title, it's assumed that it's anti-Semitic. They just naturally would assume that, so it would be demonetized. Because, I mean, why wouldn't they assume that? Because a lot of people who would make anti-Semitic videos would probably put Jews in the title. And, well, that's what's pretty much going on with YouTube. They're finding anything that they could deem hateful, which is literally just looking in the political category. Which is why a lot of YouTube creators, including Secular Tech, have had to get creative with their titles. Like, if you look through some of Kyle's videos, you'll notice when he types in words like Korean or child or whatever, like military, war, Iran, ISIS, he'll have to use different variations of the letters so that he can try and get past YouTube's thingy so his video can still have ads on it. I mean, I'm actually kind of glad that I don't monetize my videos because this would inevitably lead to me getting demonetized as well. And here's the thing, if I made a video about, like, a white supremacist ideology, it would probably get demonetized or flagged. So in order to combat that, I'll probably, if I ever do want to make money off my channel, which I probably will at one point, it'll be done via Patreon. I technically have a Patreon, but it doesn't do anything. I don't have a bank account or a PayPal to put money in and spend and stuff. I don't really have. Once I do that, I can not monetize my videos. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do Patreon. But anyways, Steven Crowder, of course, played the victim card, which, given the circumstances, is easy to do. When all these other channels are getting demonetized, Steven Crowder can easily be the white knight and say that I'm standing up for freedom of speech. And that, of course, led to a lot of other people getting involved in the controversy too, much like Glenn Greenwald, who was saying how this could inevitably hurt free speech on YouTube, because Steven Crowder inevitably does have freedom of speech, and, demonetizing his entire platform might not be the best idea to try to disprove his ideas. It'll inevitably just have him play the victim card, and, when you give the other guy the victim card, it doesn't inevitably go well. And the left pounced on him. They pounced on him. They were like, Glenn Greenwald, we hate you. You're a self-hating gay. Which the right wing also likes to play, except replace the word gay with Jew. That's literally Ben Shapiro's whole thing. His whole thing is that he thinks that Glenn Greenwald is a self-hating Jew because he criticizes Israel. So, whenever he criticizes a gay YouTuber, he's apparently self-hating gay too. I mean, that's just really dumb. Who cares? Okay, saying who cares is a bit of an exaggeration, but Carlos Maza, like, the thing is, Carlos Maza, I think the way he worded it when he first brought it up kind of made it seem a little, especially considering like other people like Michael Tracy have also gotten involved in controversy, saying things like, oh, he should have gotten over it because he apparently has a thick skin. And Jimmy Dore also said, like, he has a thick skin, yet apparently he's, going to the website and crying like a baby. Inevitably, he shouldn't have said, I have a thick skin. Because here's the thing. If he said, I have a thick skin, people will naturally bring that up. Like, if you have a thick skin, get over it. Who cares? Who cares that a guy who hates gay people hates a gay person? Inevitably, they're gonna still hate gay people at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if you take their demonetization, if you take away their money, they're still gonna hate gay people. But again, this also brings up a lot of things. Like, does demonetization mean you take away their freedom of speech? To an extent, maybe. Because if you can't make money off of YouTube, then what's the point of doing YouTube? I mean, you could say, oh, I do it for fun, but we all know that's not the case. I mean, except for me, because I don't get paid. I don't get paid for my YouTube videos, so yeah, I do it for fun. Which is sad because, okay, I'm gonna stop. But anyways, it's pretty much the controversy is kind of a big moral gray area. And I mean, there's some people who say that it's black and white. You either support Carlos Maza or you don't. You're either on Steven Crowder's side or you're on Carlos Maza's side. I don't think that's the case. I think it's more of a gray area. On one end, you can support Carlos Maza's, right to bring up this controversy and, actually combat Steven Crowder himself. But on the other end, YouTube is going a million steps too far. YouTube never knows how to fix their problems. It's always, like, whenever there's one small problem that they could solve with one bullet, they drop a nuclear arsenal. That's how YouTube solves their problems. And, of course, this is leading to Vox Adpocolypse, which is the big thing. It's called Vox Adpocolypse because, well, it could lead to another adpocalypse. A lot of advertisers, I don't know if advertisers have actually officially pulled away from YouTube as of yet. So maybe it's not really an adpocalypse, it's more of a dawn of an adpocalypse. But it could lead to one, which is inevitably a bad thing for YouTubers itself. And of course, many people have like conspiracy theories on why Carlos Maza did this now. Some say, oh, maybe it's because, like, there's been a lot of other online controversies, like, the Pro Jared thing. If you don't know who Pro Jared is, look it up. Or the Deji thing, or the James Charles thing. These are controversies that literally were like, I don't say this on my channel because this isn't channels about, like, YouTube drama. But, like, it's like, this is literally what happened. Pro Jared controversy, James Charles controversy, Deji controversy, and now Carlos Maza. But there was also a Vox Union going on at the time. So many people are saying maybe he did this because he wasn't sure if the Vox Union would end up being successful, so he wanted to put himself in the spotlight for some reason. I could say maybe he did this so that he could give the Vox Union some attention, because he did use some of the attention that he got on his Twitter to actually bring attention to the Vox Union. So, or many people like me also say he probably just did this for legitimate reasons, that he legitimately got mad and the harassment and the bullying and the doxing, and he actually wanted to bring this up. But again, there's also many people who are saying, like, since Vox is one of those big corporations like Huffington Post who really hate YouTube and PewDiePie, they're trying to take down the platform once again, which I wouldn't really hold it past these big things, like these big corporations. YouTube is their ultimate competitor, so ultimately they will try to bring YouTube down a peg. And that's, of course, what they want. They don't want YouTube to be successful, because if YouTube is successful, then small independent people, like independent media groups, they get to be in the spotlight for once. TYT always brags about how they're the number one, like, thing on YouTube, like the number one political news on YouTube, and now people are like subscribing to CNN and John Oliver and Trevor Noah. These people are nothing, but like they're being pushed to the front because these guys are the squeaky clean guys who don't get in any trouble, except for when a Hollywood producer molests someone. But I mean, whatever, that's not important. We need to talk about this YouTuber being an anti-Semite. He's not, but we need to talk about it because he might be. Inevitably, this is a controversy. To boil down this controversy very simply, good intentions led to bad outcome. I 100% believe that Carlos Maza did have the right to bring up this controversy, to bring up this doxing and harassment that Steven Crowder had brought upon him. I also believe that Steven Crowder was not doing this as playful ribbing. He is homophobic. That is not a secret. That is not a secret at all. He made a video explaining how all these gay people who died of AIDS, their deaths didn't matter because not a lot of straight people died. So it's not really an epidemic, it's more of a slight inconvenience. That's well known. He may have done it in the sense of playful ribbing, but it's not really playful ribbing at this point. The jokes, quote unquote, that were said to Maza were not funny, and don't really classify as jokes, literally just the gay guy, so you can't really say it's playful ribbing or making jokes at one each other when there's not really any jokes. The shirt says socialism is for figs, but the whole point is so that you read it as socialism is for fags, because the whole thing is that they want to make it gay equals socialism. Socialists are gay. But YouTube screwed up in the ultimate end of the controversy. They made a mountain out of a molehill. They are punishing everybody for the mistake of one. That is really the biggest problem with this controversy. I would be 100% on Carlos Maza's side. Well, I mean, not 100%, but like a good 90% or 80% on Carlos Maza's side if Crowder was the only one who got punished. But it has to be less now because Carlos Maza unintentionally, like in good faith, but unintentionally, like he didn't know that, I'm pretty sure he didn't know this was going to happen, that his actions are leading to another adpocalypse, which will harm a lot of creators. That's a bad thing, and that will ultimately be a bad thing, and people on both sides of this issue need to acknowledge that both other sides are valid in their points and criticisms of each other. Humanist Report, you have to acknowledge that Carlos Maza did do a harmful thing by leading to another adpocalypse. Jimmy Dore, you have to acknowledge that just because Carlos Maza brought up these issues doesn't mean he was doing it intentionally to harm creators, or that he's less of a human being, or that he should have gotten over it, as to quote, not Carlos Maza, Michael Tracy. Now, my view probably would be different if the doxing didn't happen. You see, the doxing is where I start to be on Maza's side a little bit. You know, because, you know, when you're doxed, you're doxed. That means your information is out there, your phone number, your address. Maza had the right to bring this up, because he got doxed due to this. If this just stuck to Steven Crowder saying Mexican gay guy, let's be queer, and nothing else came of it, you know, I don't think I would have made much deal out of it. I would have been like, he's a dick, but that would have been it, really. I wouldn't have brought this up to YouTube because a guy calling you a dick on the internet or insulting on the internet, that's nothing. Then again, that's because I have a thick skin. I mean, I guess kind of. Well, I mean, it's weird. I have like this anxiety where it used to bother me, but now it really doesn't. Especially if you're on the internet, because there's this, like, I mean, you're on the internet. What are you going to do? Kill me? When the doxing comes out, again, Mazza had the right due to the doxing. But again, if the doxing never happened, I mean, I'm not saying Mazza shouldn't have brought it up, period. But, I mean, if the doxing didn't happen, then, you know, people would be a lot less likely to be on Mazza's side. So yeah, ultimately, what do I think of Steven Crowder? He's a dick. I don't like him. I mean, he doesn't even register that much on my political radar because, I mean, even in regards to conservative movements, it's like, we've moved past you. Like, I mean, you're pretty much about to be the Rush Limbaugh of political YouTubers. You're gonna be old, man. Like, I mean, nobody talks about Rush Limbaugh anymore because Rush Limbaugh is stupid and old. Now we're on to the Ben Shapiros and the Jordan Petersons and the Candace Owenses and that guy who formed the Leave Democratic Party movement. Walk away, that's what it is. Walk away. So anyways, that's all I have to say on this topic. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified when a future video of mine comes out. And if you're interested in more political content from me, you can go to my website or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Quora, or check out my articles on the Independent Political Report. What are your thoughts on the Carlos Mazza controversy? Are you with Mazza? Are you with Crowder? Or are you taking a middle ground? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below.